Weekly Sauce,
Damn.
episode 60. Marco,
60.
I don't know what episode you were on before, but number 60 is the big one because we have you back on, especially after a midst of all these crazy Montreal Canadiens talks. But before we get to Marco and before we get to Alex, this episode, as usual, is brought to you by Mike's BBQ Rub. Visit Mike's BBQ Rub, MTL.com, and use Hot Sauce 10 for 10% off the entire site. Best sauces, man. Truffalo sauce, unbelievable. I ordered it. It's unbelievable. It's second to truffle sauce, but it's still pretty good. The mustard truffle sauce sucks your dick, as I've said before. Big Dick Josh Anderson would love that shit. So visit Mike's BBQ Up, MTL.com, and use Hot Sauce 10 for 10% off the entire site. We have the hockey expert. We have Marco D'Amico in the house. How's it going, buddy?
I'm good, guys. How you doing?
We're good, man. We're good. Alex, my buddy, I missed you, man. It's been 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, we've been at the beach, a nice vacation, man. Oh, my best weather ever. It's never hot. It's nice, breezy. I mean, it was an amazing week, and I'm back.
Are we allowed to swear?
Episode 60, of course.
Okay. Fuck you, Alex.
Well, it was a nice day
fucking
today.
raining here.
No,
every fucking goddamn time. And
Oh
now
yeah, it's been pretty shitty, the weather in Montreal. It's been
July was absolute ass. August looks really well.
Yeah,
and I'm jealous because like the only thing we have close to a summer's breeze is like walking along this polluted like river that we call the St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
But like this guy gets the Pacific Ocean, which is like
And it was overcast too.
Yeah, amazing on the outside, but then if you go inside, like half the fish are mutated. So win-win.
Win-win. And it's always when you go on vacation, it's like Alex got lucky that he had like perfect weather, but like sometimes I feel like when I go on vacation, there's always like, even if I go to an all-inclusive, there's like 2 days where the weather's like you know? But you got to get
depends. Down south is weird because like they'll say like it's going to rain. And then it's going to rain for as long as you said it's going to rain. And then, boom, all of a sudden, it's pure sun for the rest of the day.
That's it.
Yeah, Miami's like that.
Yeah, Miami's. Yeah. It's the tropical places, right? Exactly. I don't think people are tuning in to listen to us talk about the fucking weather in Florida or in California or wherever. They're here to talk so we can ask the hockey expert some questions since he's the expert and we are far from it. Well, at least I am. It's been a crazy couple weeks, hey Marco, since the playoffs ended. Especially for
Tell me
Habs.
about it. Oh, just hockey in general. I mean, scandal after scandal, shock after shock. Where do you even start? I mean, Shea Weber basically having to quote unquote retire. Yeah. I mean, basically at this point, I mean, I knew he was playing through a knee injury. And then we knew throughout the end of the year that he was playing with a thumb injury, but we didn't know how bad it was, right? Yeah. Nick Kyprios reported that knee injury last year, and he still played through it, and he played through a season of it. And now, eventually, you know, it's the end of the line for a guy who's basically given his entire body to the sport. And, you know, it sucks that he didn't see a Stanley Cup victory in his career, but at least he got to get to the Stanley Cup final, which he didn't even get to a conference final in his entire career prior to this year. So, you know, I mean, and the same thing could be said about Carey Price. But it's fun to see them actually get that opportunity. So now you got to turn the page. You got to try to rebuild on the fly. I'm not exactly sure how one replaces a Shea Weber on the fly, but
so, I mean, you can't. There isn't anybody that's going to come in and replace him right away. But there might be somebody in the pipeline that can. But as soon as I saw, like we all hear, I mean, maybe we don't know yet, right? Maybe we will draft somebody eventually. Maybe it's going to be Gooley. Doubt it.
Well, Gooley would play left.
Oh, okay, you're talking about like pure position. I'm just talking about the person, you know, like the
the person. Power, no, they then in that case, they have tons of players that could fill a top.
Oh, we just drafted one who is very controversial, Logan Mailhoux.
Yeah,
look. I don't know what to say about him. Okay, he's a guy who has talent. Okay, it's undeniable.
Well, he was a first-round talent.
No, look, Alex. There's nothing you can tell me about Logan Mailhoux that hasn't already been said. There's nothing you can tell me about Logan Mailhoux that everybody understands the situation. He messed up. It's inexcusable. He needs to repent. But it's not his fault he got drafted. It's Montreal's. And that's on
other teams. In other teams, we're going to draft him second round.
And other teams that were willing to draft him as well in the second round. That's on the league for not having a rule that allows players to opt out, the fact that they have no consent in their own drafting. I mean, we're talking about consent when it comes to Mailloux and
They have
sharing.
until a certain day to opt out, right? Or is it just no opt out?
No, there is no such thing as opting out.
Yeah, so it's like
in hockey.
Yeah, so in the NFL you can actually opt out, but in
NFL, NBA you can opt out.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I find that extremely weird, and it removes any choice from the players. And in this situation, it would have saved so many people a headache. And again, this doesn't excuse Marc Bergevin from drafting him. It really doesn't. This screams desperation to me. This screams, I am going to completely remove the personal human aspect from this and look at it from a pure hockey perspective. He was the best right defenseman available at that point in the draft. That's why they took him.
So, I mean, they probably had the Habs and Mailloux and the Mailloux's camp probably had 20 to 25 conversations before they drafted him, right? I mean,
they hadn't spoken to him a week before they drafted him.
But let's say they had all these conversations before. Maybe they didn't speak to him a week before they drafted him, but I'm sure they've had multiple conversations with him. Obviously, maybe 25 is an exaggeration, but
no, but at least
they had a PR text ready. They had a PR text ready.
They had a PR text ready, but they also, to Terry's point, they met with him a few times throughout the season. I think they were well aware of what was going on.
I'm not saying that they didn't know. What I'm saying is that they probably had their own. They spoke to the kid, and if the kid explained to them how remorseful he was, and they bought it. They drank the Kool-Aid. The issue that I have isn't necessarily with the kid. I mean, the kid made a mistake. He didn't. I mean, the girl that was affected by this, unfortunately, she felt like she didn't get her apology that she was looking for and all that stuff. The team has a responsibility to that person. That's the way I see it.
100%.
To the woman.
100%.
And it's okay that they drafted him. He's at that level. I don't mind that they drafted him, but did they do their due diligence before? Did they speak to the woman? Did they speak to the kid's family? Did they do all of that? And I just don't believe that they did. That's the problem with this.
And I don't know about you guys, but Bergevin to me is, I don't know any other GMs that gambles more than him. He does that. He did the Corey Perry gamble. He did many other gambles. I can't even think about it.
Sergachev for Joy.
Yeah, he's a guy that loves gambling.
Worst trade of all time.
And Logan Mailhoux may or may not work out.
No, it's not.
Worst trade of all time.
It's close, but no.
Worst trade.
Martin Irad for Philip Forsberg is by far worse.
That's a really bad one. I made a really bad one once in my fantasy league. I traded Jonathan Blum I traded Ryan Johansson for Jonathan Blum head to head.
Oh, my God! Even Nashville was like, why'd you do that? But to Alex's point, I agree. Like, Marc Bergevin is in a I don't give a shit mode right now. I think a lot of people see the writing on the wall. I think this is his last season as the GM for the Montreal Canadiens.
So he has a short leash.
I don't think he has a short leash. I think it's I don't give a shit kind of scenario. And Molson basically having to come in and clean up his mess. Because, yes, Molson signed off on it, but I don't think Molson had all the information. I don't think Molson knew the implications that it would have brought out to draft such a player, and now he's in the situation where he's got to get involved. Yeah. No owner is going to allow his team to draft a player and have to get him involved and him in a press conference if that player isn't perceived to be a surefire top 4 impactful player. Like, I'm sorry, either they think Logan Mailhoux is going to be literally Shea Weber's replacement, or Molson was not properly informed on the situation.
Yeah, I think that if they really believe that, then yeah, you're 100% right, Marco. You take the bullet. The guy, he did what he had to do. The kid, he did the bare minimum. Now you're like, okay, you know what? He did what he had to do. Maybe we can kind of get away from this. The 15 minutes in the media, he'll be scrutinized, will be scrutinized, and then the season's going to start. People are going to forget about it. This is probably what went through their minds. But at the end of the day, do they really think that he's going to be an immediate impact? There's no way he could be immediate impact. He's still going to have to develop for 3, 4, 5 years to become that type of guy. And I don't know if it was I'm not a draft guy. I'm not like a prospects guy. You guys know better than me. Who else was available that they could have taken at that time at the same level?
They specifically focused on trying to get a right defenseman. There was one viable pick at that point. It was Scott Morrow. He was picked, I think, 15 or 16 slots later, and not in the same ballpark in terms of skill.
And I was very high on Sasha Pastuyov, yeah. And I was so sure he was going to be the pick. And
I could have told you immediately.
My face went like when I saw Logan Mailhoux. That was
your face. Okay, Alex, I was on the radio at 91.9 FM in French, live during the pick, and the first thing that I did was laugh. The second thing that I did was
I know you tweeted. You tweeted it on Twitter with laugh emojis.
Later. Yeah, because I like what? And again, as you said, I'm continuously floored by the needless risks that Marc Bergevin takes in his career. I've never seen a guy in a GM role look like it's almost like
he's
playing poker.
Yeah, he's always
playing poker.
It's almost like he's just like, I'm playing with house money. Let me see what happens.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
A lot of them hit.
See what happens.
A lot of them hit.
And that's the thing with Bergevin. A lot of them do hit, and when they don't, you hear about it forever. But a lot of people don't talk about when he does. And
I wonder if he has a gambling addiction.
He does not.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe.
He does not.
But I don't. Not based on.
Not
this.
Everybody's Evander Kane, buddy.
Oh man, there's another mess. We can get into that a bit later, but that's another fucking. That guy is legit.
I don't even care. I don't even care if he threw games. I don't even care if he threw games.
Yeah.
I don't. I really, really don't. Because San Jose was shit and he had a career year, so it doesn't really add up.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I will say is to leave your ex-wife with the 2 kids at home and just fuck off to Europe and party. Like, dude, you have a responsibility to those 2 beings. I don't care how you feel about your ex-wife.
I like how his response was, yeah, I tried to FaceTime them all the time and she didn't want to. Well, no shit, she didn't want to, man. You do nothing. She takes care of them all the time. Why should you have these rights? That FaceTime guy is them? Legit scum of the earth. Scum.
Like, dude, I will say this. My mother moved away when I was 6 years old after my parents' divorce. She was a 15-hour drive or a 3-hour flight away. She was here every 3 weeks.
There you go.
Evander Kane is a millionaire. He could be with his kids right now, but he chooses to party.
Exactly.
For that, he is scum.
All right, back from the
scum. I want to address something. Alex, I've noticed how, as a Russian, how hard it is for you to say Russian names.
Why?
Wait, which Russian names?
Pastuyov. Anything with an "ov" at the end of it.
Okay, no, but
you should just be like fucking.
No. I forgot his name.
I also respect this in the context because there's a lot of Russian names on paper that are no longer pronounced the Slavic way, right?
Okay.
Pastuyov is the way you're supposed to pronounce it.
Well, he's American.
He's American, so he pronounces it Pastujov during games. So you see how that can disconnect, right?
Well, that's maybe because he's American, but there's no J in the Russian language. It's a
Y.
It's a Y, yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly, a Pastujov, but it's pronounced Pastujov in certain circles, which is really weird. And I would really like him on a line with Pasternak at one point, but that's besides the point.
That's besides the point.
But yeah, no, I agree. Pastujov would have been a great second round pick. I could have told you right away Montreal did not want him.
Okay, the rest of our picks, which one do you think is the one that you're the most certain that's going to make the NHL?
Certain? I think Mailloux's going to make the NHL for sure. I think beyond him, there's one guy I really, really liked, and that was Josh Roy, 5th round pick. I thought the kid fell because of scoring concerns and professionalism concerns. And it was just not working out for him. When you saw him with St. John Sea Dogs, it just something didn't click. And already picking him 1st overall the first season, you already saw something wasn't really clicking with that team. And that team is weird to begin with the group of players they had. Once he was traded to Sherbrooke, he had 13 goals in 20 games. Which is basically a 35-goal clip in a regular season. That generally gets you first-round consideration. in this league.
Yeah.
The reason why is because he was playing in St. John the whole year. And I don't know if you guys know, but not everybody can get into the stadiums to watch him play, or the arenas to watch him play, because of COVID. Quebec-based Montreal Canadiens scouts could. Serge Boisvert, Donald Odette were able to. And that's the reason why you see 4 QMJHL kids picked by the Habs this year, because the QMJHL was the league that was the least affected by COVID in Canada. And
during the season, yeah.
Period. The whole year. There was since COVID hit, the QMJHL is the league that played the most amount of games. And at the end of the day, there's a little bit more certainty in those players. And when you look at Josh Roy, he actually fell because they didn't have enough data on him when things turned around. He lost 25 pounds when he went from St. John to Phoenix, because they finally put him on a proper nutritional and physical development path.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He dropped all that weight.
Amazing.
He's down to 180 now.
Still a big boy.
Yeah, exactly. But he's 6 foot 180. Pure power.
Yeah.
And the guy was putting up goal after goal after goal. He was a point per game player, and Phoenix had just sold everybody. They had nobody left. Everybody was traded. So he comes in on a rebuilding roster and scores at a 35-goal clip. That is, to me, a Gallagher-esque style pick in the 5th round.
Yeah.
And someone who could really turn around and give you a boom and not a bust.
Alex?
The pick that I really liked was Oliver Kapanen.
That's a sly play by Timmins. I agree.
Because I've also watched his games right now with the U18s against the US. He played great. He had 2 goals, I believe.
There's the summer showcase.
Yeah, the summer showcase. That's the name. and also Xavier Simoneau, who I'm going to be rooting for him, because the guy, he's 20 years old. Yeah, he's overaged, obviously. But he's a long shot. I think he might make it, just like David Darnay.
There's nothing wrong with drafting a 20-year-old. I mean, there's guys that get drafted at 22. They'll just be AHL and maybe get a few games up and maybe get a contract. And, there's plenty of guys out there like that. And you never know until you draft them. And, it's kind of good that they went into the queue and they drafted so heavily into the queue. I mean, also we saw what they did in free agency. I don't know if they're trying to send a message because they had that one game where there was no French-Canadian players. I don't know, but it's crazy to me. The one thing, though, that I will say about the queue and why guys slide from the queue a lot, there's this, I don't know, like in Europe, don't they have, like, if you score a goal in Spain, it counts more than if you score a goal in the Ukrainian league?
The projected value of goal, yes.
So it's the same thing in the CHL when it comes to the O, dub, and the Q. If you score 100 goals in the Q, it's not equivalent to 100 goals in the O. Like, that's just the reality.
And so that used to be the case for the longest time. Over the last, I'd say, 5 years, the lines have slowly meshed. Now it's the OHL that's become the easier scoring league, and it's the QMJHL that's slowly becoming more defensive.
Well, they're becoming
and the WHL is the most defensive league.
Yeah, WHL has always been. They're always like big.
Yeah, they haven't changed
big D
style.
come out of there. It's like always.
They haven't changed style at all.
Yeah.
It's the other way around now, where the OHL and the QMJHL are just kind of like flipping over.
I still have the Q really low behind the O. Like, especially watching the kids.
The Q is more advanced at producing general quality. The OHL is better at producing stars. Therein lies the difference.
Okay.
And I think if you look at the way that the leagues are supplemented by import drafts, the OHL benefits far more, and the WHL for that matter, benefit far more from imports than Quebec does.
So there's been another Bergevin gamble this offseason, the Carey Price exposure.
I loved it.
So the moment they exposed Carey Price, I'm like, okay, that's a very smart move, because for one, it's a win-win situation. Because if we lose Price, we get $10.5 million freed up for the next 5 years. If we keep Price, we're still keeping a really good goalie.
Best goalie.
So, yeah. Some would say now it's Vasilevsky. Some would say it's It's Kucherov. Okay, he's like, oh, number one bullshit. Who's Fleury?
He was talking about Fleury. Yeah.
Yeah.
He never said anything bad about Price.
Yeah.
Well, you can't because Price.
Price would kill him.
Price has numbers.
So it was a good gamble. What did you think of it when you first saw it?
Oh, good gamble. Immediately, everybody was freaking out that Carey Price would be taken. And the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, you don't know Ron Francis. Ron Francis has never, and I will reiterate this just for show purposes, never had a number one goaltender on his team. Never. Always stopgaps, always just fixing things left and right, and then signing a free agent to come and fix his problems. That's exactly what he did. He didn't take Carey Price. He signs Grubauer to come and fix the problem.
Didn't they take Vanacek also?
They traded him for a second round pick back to Washington.
Back to Washington.
Oh, I didn't know they were allowed doing that.
Yes, you are. You're not allowed to trade back with retention. You can trade back.
Okay. So we could have gone Carey Price.
Reacquired Price.
For a first. It would have been a first. Why would you do that?
I would never give a first at that point.
No.
Take him. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Well, if it was the first this year, then we don't have this whole Logan Mailhoux scandal.
So. Oh, yeah, no. I would have still been... I would prefer the Logan Mailhoux scandal to trading back a first for Carey Price.
So as a guy who's one of the best followers on Twitter when it comes to hockey, especially when it comes to the Habs, and we're looking at the expansion draft, and Frank Saravalli is just, boom, just fucking hammering them out one by one. What are you thinking? Because I'm looking at it like this. Like, I wasn't going to watch the expansion draft, but I was looking forward to the next day to seeing the list. And as I'm on Twitter all day, because, Twitter's fun, I just see everything being leaked. Bang, bang, bang. Journalistic integrity,
what
insider
do you expect,
integrity.
Though? What do you expect?
It's because Frank Saravalli is now with
Daily Faceoff.
Exactly, Daily Faceoff. So he's not with TSN anymore, and I think the rest followed after he started. So they're like,
Friedman saw it. He's like, all right, gung ho.
Yeah, but also at the same time, like, and that's on the league.
Yeah.
And when it comes to logistics with this league, we keep coming back to it. They're not very smart with logistics. The marketing presentation of their entire expansion draft was disgustingly
remember the Leafs one?
And bad.
Leafs
that was the only good thing about that entire presentation, Alex, because the rest of it was cringeworthy. My fiance made me change the channel because she's like, okay, Marco, listen, I watch Zian Bibo and whomever they want as the anthem singer sing like crazy, random kids showing up with a torch lighting up ice. I watch all of this shit for you, but I ain't watching this. and I looked at her and I was like, I agree. Let's turn this off. But then they made the Leafs comment and I was like, okay, redemption.
It's crazy, man. It's how transparent they are.
This is the league. This is the league for you. Yeah. Like, if you want the element of surprise, then don't demand the picks be in 10 hours before the actual event.
That's crazy.
It is 2021, Gary. This isn't 1972. Information travels fast, especially if you have to talk to agents.
They just signed on a fucking bunch of TikToker, man. I think they're trying to they're starting to understand how the interweb works.
Don't get me started on that.
That was the dumbest.
That was probably the worst candidate they could. What's her name? Marissa Roberto from TSN would have probably been a better get than that. Like, bless her soul.
That guy is like huge on TikTok, so he's gonna get a lot of people.
I don't care that
he's a Leafs fan.
I don't think he's very relevant. Exactly. I don't think he's very irrelevant.
He's only a Leafs fan because of Bieber.
Justin Bieber?
Yeah, because of Bieber, Matthews.
Yeah, well, Terry, all or nothing, right?
Yeah, all or nothing.
And then in Toronto's lexicon, nothing.
So the free agent frenzy started. Habs Twitter was going crazy. Everyone was saying Dougie Hamilton, Landeskog, Ovechkin. Instead, we got Hoffman, Savard, Paquette, Perreault. I'm not sure what's your grade, first of all, on all these signings? And
easily a B. I think it's a B. First of all, I'd like to point out that getting Savard at the contract that they got him at was refreshing. Because I honestly thought he was going 4.5 times 3 or 4.5 times 4. And to get 3.5 times 4, I'll take it. Honest to God, a right defenseman version of Joel Edmondson. That's what you got.
Yeah, well, I'd say with a little bit more offense to his game because he
Not
can
anymore.
he can drive the play. He can drive the play.
He could. He just doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't do it anymore.
I would prefer he play with a more offensive left-handed shot player, and I think everyone knows where I'm going with this. I'd love to see him. Okay, if they acquire Vince Dunn, but I can't speak to that yet. I'd love to see him paired with Romanov.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Allow Romanov to be a puck-moving player. Develop Romanov to be that top 4, right or left D, because he can play both, rover on the ice, and then have him stay back. He's got all the experience in the world. He's won a Stanley Cup doing it, playing with Sergachev on his left. Go. Do the exact same thing with Romanov and let him go. Eventually you're gonna let go of Sherratt, and you're going to have Romanov in a top 4 role on the left side. Best groom him now. Put him with Savard.
It's a good call.
That's the way I see it. And then
call.
Hoffman. I mean, guys, I'm sorry. That's a wicked contract.
It's a great contract.
3 years?
Because 2 years from now, if he's sucking the bag, salut, he's getting traded. No problems. What team?
Easily.
What team wouldn't want to take that contract if, let's say he's going to be a UFA at the end of the year?
4.5? It's insane. 4.5 is great. Like, I saw that they weren't able to. I believe it was St. Louis that tried to retain him, and they only offered him 4 times 3. And Montreal came in at 4.5 times 3, and that's why he signed in Montreal. He signed in Montreal because Montreal has 2 centers under the age of 23 that are going to be dynamite next season. And that power play desperately needs a left-handed shot, and he's going to be that.
Yeah.
So here is a guy that's basically going to come into your top 6, be a figurehead on the power play, exactly the kind of usage he wants. But the risk is nothing. There's no trade protection. It's 3 years, and it's less than $5 million. I'll take a top 6 power play specialist for less than $5 million on a short-term deal any day.
So the thing about what I like about Savard and Paquette is the money. I mean, we didn't spend a lot.
Paquette is great depth for that money, because you could essentially bury him should things not work out. You could send him to the minors, and a cap hit comes right off.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and I forgot about Weidman. Yeah, Weidman as well.
Weidman's a good pick.
We'll see.
We'll see what
defenseman of the year. Defenseman of the year in the
KHL. You know who else was defenseman of the year in the KHL? The Leafs.
Mikko Lehtinen.
The Leafs will tell you. Mikko Lehtinen. What did Mikko Lehtinen do?
Nothing.
Chris Weidman, he could be defenseman of the year in KHL. The thing is, he was already in the NHL at a above, maybe a couple seasons above average, for the most part, average career in the NHL.
He's good depth.
Yeah.
And the reason why they had to go and get a guy like Weidman is because they lost Fleury, because they lost Weber, because they already had very little depth at the right defenseman position. They went and drafted 3 right defensemen this year specifically for that. They even signed a minor leaguer to play right defenseman. They need to reconstruct the right side of their defensive brigade. And that's how you start. Now, they're probably, with the context, they're probably going to be shifting Norlinder to right D permanently, because he's been playing right D for the last 3 years in Sweden. So the way that I see it, they want to line that up. They want to make sure that they have everything set up. Going to get a guy like Weidman, at least for this year, is a stopgap. If he impresses, similarly to like a Kulak acquisition, then you sign him long-term on the cheap. And I'm sure he'll stick around. But it's a no-risk signing, and I'd rather they sign this now than give up a 5th in February to go and get him.
Just a few more things before we let you go, Marco. Drouin, what's the situation with him? What are we looking at for next year?
He's back on the ice training. He's back on the ice at Brossard training. So,
what are we looking at in terms of, is he going to be trade deadline date, trade bait? Hopefully,
I don't think so.
Man, it would have been so nice to get rid of him to Seattle.
No, No, I don't think Seattle would have taken the chance. Given
I know,
that
that's
he
what I'm
went
saying.
through.
It just would have been nice, but it's too bad, man. Because and everybody was talking about Romanov as like a potential trade bait for Eichel, who this, that, everybody was
Well,
saying,
Romanov, yeah, he would be part of whatever package. Yes,
yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
And in my head, I'm like, don't do it. We've already lost McDonough. We already lost Sergachev in bad trades. Why would we give up Romanov again? We need D. The Habs have needed D for
I guess
years.
because the reason, yeah, and that is true. But the Habs have also needed a bona fide superstar number one center for longer, and that might be, the reason that you would include that. If you have an Eichel trade, it's because Suzuki, whom looks like he's going to develop into that elite two-way number one player, would be your number two center. It would give Montreal the deepest 1-2 punch they've had since they won the cup, and even then, probably further. So it's attractive. I grant that. And no asset that Montreal is going to give for Eichel is going to become better than Eichel. I could tell you that right now. But I also agree that the sum of the parts make it so that maybe it's not the best scenario for the Canadians, especially if Romanov is not the only top player going with that package to Buffalo. If Kotkaniemi is included, I understand. But if one of Caulfield or Suzuki is included in that deal, well, then you're going backwards. So I understand why Bergevin tried and went to see what the waters were, but I also understand that any team acquiring Jack Eichel right now is not going to be acquiring a very healthy player. He won't even be ready to start the season.
Yeah. And it's also his job to go out and see what the price is on this player.
Yeah, which is fine. If there's one thing I don't doubt Bergevin does, it's inform himself on the price.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I doubt that Bergevin does, it's gamble on trades like he gambles on everything else.
Well, breaking news right now: one defenseman that I wanted the Habs to get, Ryan Murray, just is going to Colorado right now.
Are you surprised though? Colorado makes total sense.
It makes sense for him, yeah.
And
look, the Habs right now, it's either they're either gonna add on D or they're gonna add on center. I don't think Habs are gonna get two more signings. They're gonna extend Kotkaniemi, and they're gonna sign someone to be the third line center. Because I'm not convinced that Jake Evans can take over the spot, the third C spot for the whole year. I feel like he's a great fourth liner. He's a fourth line center. He'd be great on there. But third line, I'm being skeptical right now. And also Kotkaniemi, he needs to find more consistency during the season. I know during the playoffs he's amazing. But in order to season, we're going to need some consistency down the middle. And I think that's where Bergevin's going to go and go grab someone for a third line C or even second line C. Who knows? Jack Eichel could be the answer. But even Christian Dvorak, we're talking about him as well on Twitter. I don't know.
So who's available?
Well, yeah, there's a few that are available. One thing I will say though, anybody who will turn around and state that maybe Eichel is the solution, there's no way you get Eichel without one of Suzuki or Kotkaniemi involved, which leaves you with the same problem as before, having Jack Eichel as your third line center. There is no way that you can acquire Christian Dvorak without either sacrificing a first-round pick or Ryan Poehling, who will probably eventually be that third-line center. Mm-hmm. Honestly, you want my honest opinion? Habs aren't winning anything this year. Play the kids. Play them. This is it.
I'm happy with that because if we lose and we don't make the playoffs, 2022 is a deep draft.
No, 2022 is a top-heavy draft.
Yeah, exactly.
Deep, so I wouldn't say. Top-heavy, top 10.
There's also 2023 is also going to be a great draft too, right?
Michkov says hi.
Yes. Michkov and Bedard.
And so does Bedard.
What about my boy Mikey Lastarza? Where's he gonna go?
That's 2024.
2024.
23.
What? Lastarza?
He's 14 years old right now, right? Or 15.
He's a 2004.
Yeah, but 2004 what?
I don't know his birthday. He's a 2004. I know that for a fact.
Mikael
There's
Fantilli.
there's Fantilli, exactly. Chicago's Fantilli.
I'm gonna leave his prospects right now. Hold on.
Yeah, I see him. He's a January
He's born.
born.
January.
He's an 04, so he's 2022. Damn. Not 2023, 2022. Look at that. He went to Shattuck St. Mary. Look at him.
He went for a year to Shattuck's. Now he's going to BU.
He played for the Brick.
Wait, he's going to BU in his draft eligible season? That's rare. That's really rare. Good for him.
Yeah, he's a smart kid.
Oh no, 2022, 2023. So I guess he's going back to Waterloo in the USHL next year. All right, still. BU produced very good hockey players. Luke Tuck says hi.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
Big Dick Tuck, man.
Either BC
Oh
or
my God,
BU.
you're gonna call him Big Dick Tuck too now?
That's what.
Every big winger is gonna be Big Dick. Enter name.
No, only,
Yes.
only Josh Anderson. Only Josh Anderson.
But I'm every single time that Josh Anderson scored this season, especially in the playoffs, I just imagine Alex's face lighting up, just yelling at the screen, being like "Big Dick," and his neighbors being like. Yeah, no, I know you did, but I could just imagine you like watching the games and your neighbors being like, "This kid watches too much porn, man."
Well, my father-in-law he's going crazy when I say Big Dick Anderson.
Why?
He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Big Dick?"
Yeah, man.
Well, that's fair. Probably shouldn't talk about dicks in front of your father-in-law.
Just not your own. That's the only one.
Yeah, no, like I've gone through it. Don't do it.
All right, Marco, we appreciate you coming on, man. It was awesome to get you on. At the Hockey Expert on Twitter, best follow. And he doesn't shy away from responding to you if he thinks your answers are stupid. He also doesn't shy away from having a cordial discussion with you if he feels like he can have one with you on Twitter. So if you want any interaction about the Habs, at the Hockey Expert. Your website is scrimmagestats.com.
Yep.
Did I get? Yeah, I got it right. Scrimmagestats.com. I was like, is it stats and scrimmages? I was trying to figure it out.
No, everyone has fun with that. They're like, wait, what scrimmages and stats and what?
Scrimmagestats.com. For all his blogs, his pre-drafts, it's the best to follow if you want to be informed. It's the only thing that I use.
Hey Terry, we never asked Marco what's his favorite poutine spot in Montreal.
Oh, that's a good cue.
I don't. My favorite poutine spot is not in Montreal.
Where is it?
It's actually in Mascouche.
Oh, what's it called?
I'm not telling you.
Why?
It's a pataterie. It's a local pataterie shop in Mascouche.
I might be playing golf there. Just give me the fucking place and I'll go try.
That's unsurprising.
Chez Gérard.
No.
Chez Gérard.
Chez Gérard, like, look, there's a lot of good spots overall. Like, you have the obvious tourist spots like La Banquise, which is good, but I will say not exactly what I would consider great. It's more like artisanal poutine.
It's a gimmick.
Yeah, exactly. When I was growing up in St. Leo, bro, definitely some smoked meat poutine from Jerry's was the shit. Those used to make me very happy up until maybe 6 months ago.
Chez Ma Tante,
and then
too.
Chez Ma Tante is very good as well. And there's the poutine that they make at La Fleur's that always used to have a soft spot in my heart. Those are the ones on the island of Montreal.
Yeah. The Chez Claudette for me is number one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love
Yeah,
Chez
I would say-
Claudette,
Yeah,
Orange
that's
Julep.
Yeah, julep is
Orange
nice.
julep is very underrated.
Well, I like about orange julep because it's like got that thick dark sauce, you know.
Yeah,
And you don't get that.
Also the way that the potatoes are cut and then cooked, it's done well, and you can appreciate that.
You do appreciate that, and we appreciate you coming on, Alex. I appreciate you. As usual, this episode is brought to you by Mike's BBQ Rub. Visit Mike's BBQ Rub MTL.com and use hot sauce 10 for 10% off the entire site. I'm Terry Tam. That was Alex the intern. That was at the Hockey Expert on Twitter.
And don't forget to rub your meat.
Don't forget to rub your meat, boys. Peace.